It's time for the Week 7 six-pack, our 6 favorite games heading into Week 7, plus previewing Sunday Night Football, Saints at Arizona Cardinals, a rematch of Super Bowl 54, and Colts and Titans fighting for the top spot in the AFC South. Coming up on today's Peacock and Williamson.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look into the NFL on the field and in the front office. With elite breakdowns, next-level analysis, and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of P&W is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. That's prizepicks.com. Promo code Locked On. Very interesting week of football, Matt. I think there are some very important games, but as you pointed out, and I did not realize, I saw that there was a lot of big favorites this week and some bigger lines. I did not realize that the first game we're going to get into here, the Colts and the Titans, is the only game on the slate where there's 2 winning teams, 2 teams above 500 facing off. And this is for the early lead in the AFC South between the Colts visiting the Titans at 3-2, 3-2-1 and 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised that these are the teams that are doing it. I mean, the beginning of the season looked disastrous. I had nothing good to say about this entire division except for Jacksonville, and that doesn't sound so smart at the moment either. I will say, I feel like the Colts are maybe turning the corner. And I think the Titans are just a tough-minded, well-coached team that knows how to hang around in this league. And there's something to be said for that. You know, I mean, learn how to just gut out some wins, even when it's not your day or you're not super talented. And I kind of feel like that's where Tennessee is at. I'm looking at Colts getting 2 on the road. Is that what you're seeing here on BetOnline?
Yeah. Let me double check on that one.
Yeah.
I thought it was
I like the Colts, though. I don't really trust the Colts on the road. I don't really trust Matt Ryan on the road, but I don't think it's a weather problem. I think the O-line's starting to come together a little. They may have something in Alex Pierce. I mean, I think he's a really intriguing guy. And I'm expecting Jonathan Taylor to play in this one. So I think the Colts are rounding into mediocrity.
Right. I mean, it was night and day what we saw with the Colts playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? Versus the first time they played the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you hope they arrive. Maybe just the familiarity of playing a team again. And these 2 teams are really familiar with each other. Matt Ryan is new to the Colts and the Titans rivalry, but I feel like it's such a coin flip game here with these 2 teams. And I know the Titans are at home, but I just want to take whatever points I can get, which is 2 points with the Colts.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm going to pick the Colts to win. But I don't feel strong about that. I kind of looked at it the same way. Like, if I can get points in what I think is a very even matchup, give them to me.
Yeah, can we get back to the old horses too? You know, Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry, you know, running up big points for their fantasy teams. Are we going to see that sort of a game here with the Colts and Titans?
I think so. You know, I mean, I don't think either defense is brutally difficult to go against. I would think this game doesn't get out of hand, that you can just stick it in Taylor and Henry's belly over and over and go from there and see who, you know, which power back wins in the end.
And by the way, I have both of those running backs in our Locked On Dynasty League. So you can bet I'm going to be tuning into this game. It's not why I chose it as our first of our 6-pack here for week 7. Got to throw in the sound.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
I wouldn't mind seeing both of those running backs go big in this one. I don't have a rooting interest in the Colts or the Titans, but this is a fun game. This is like, okay, these teams back to doing what they do, both over 500 and both ready to play and do some damage in this division and go assert their dominance atop a division that they both obviously want to win.
I can see them both getting to 100 yards. I mean, I don't think either team pulls away. I think the game script would be very favorable for Taylor and Henry. Just keep giving them the ball, and who's left standing in the end?
Right. Keep it close. No team goes up more than one score, goes up more than 7 points, would allow both teams to continue running the ball. A lot of times it ends up being one team runs the ball a lot, the other team doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And but I have both. So if one goes huge and the other doesn't, that's okay too for my I'd be okay with that. And I'm sure
some long touchdowns wouldn't break your heart either. I'm sure.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. And look, there's not a ton of receiving weapons to spread the ball around. And we know both teams are going to try to do that from jump anyway. Are they going to be successful is the question.
I'd like to see Ryan string 2 games together. I really thought he might be shot going into last week.
I mean, the Colts ran the ball. I mean, have they figured out what's going on up front with them in the offensive line? Because even without Jonathan Taylor, they ran the ball great last week anyway.
Mm-hmm. I mean, pass protection seems like it's a problem at left tackle still. But they moved Braden Smith back to right tackle. They experimented moving him at guard. I thought that never made sense to me, bumping him into guard, because he's a very good right tackle making a lot of money. You kind of got worse at 2 spots type of situation. So maybe they only have 1 weakness instead of 2.
Do we have 100% confirmation yet that Dak is back?
I would say we have 98% confirmation.
Okay.
I'm operating under the assumption he is back.
Yes, I am too. As long as there's not a setback, I think we are going to see Dak Prescott for those Dallas Cowboys this week. And it's a good defense to play against if you're the Cowboys. You're at home and you're facing probably what's been the worst defense in the NFL this year, the Detroit Lions. The 1-4 Lions at the 4-2 Cowboys. Does Dak come back on fire? The Cowboys are favored by 7, and I love the Cowboys in this game at home with Dak, but things didn't look great to start the season with Dak. Does he slow play his way into mid-season game shape? It would be my question. Are you going to try to keep it close, just run the ball and beat a team that they think they're better than? But I kind of like this 7-point line and think the Dallas Cowboys should be able to go win this one by double digits potentially.
I can see that. I mean, I don't think this is a great environment for Goff. I really think this line will handle the pressure that Dallas brings pretty well, but Parsons and Lawrence and those guys are still going to be really disruptive. And we know Goff splits, under pressure versus clean pocket. But they got 2 weeks to prepare for this game. I'm counting on Swift to be back, St. Brown. As bad as the Lions' defense is, I think their offense is legit and will pretty much score on anyone. Bill Belichick 2 weeks ago aside. I have them keeping this close and what I think will be a pretty high-scoring game. I want the points, but I took Dallas 30-24.
And by the way, that's another thing we hadn't talked about. Both of these games feature teams that we've talked about. The Titans and the Lions both had bye weeks. So we're going to start filtering teams on bye weeks, and we'll see if those teams, get things fixed over their buys, well rested, come out hot, or a lot of times you expect that, and teams come out kind of cold after their bye weeks.
Yeah, right. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing anymore, but it at least gives you 2 weeks to prepare. Dallas throws a lot at you defensively, so you would think that they're better prepared for that, at least all their stunts and games and blitzes and whatnot, and the use of Parsons, but that doesn't mean you can get them blocked.
And maybe the reason there's some really big odds this week is because some of the best teams in the league have buys. It's the Bills, Rams, Vikings, and Eagles that are all on their buys in week 7.
It's a fantasy nightmare.
Oh, it is. It starts to get real tough this
Yeah.
year. Yeah, it's going to start getting real dangerous for some teams out there navigating their fantasy football leagues. You're going to start to see some weird waiver wire stuff happening. Guys you wouldn't expect to get picked up. Guys you wouldn't expect to hit the wire because other teams have to pick up guys to cover 4 bye weeks. So, yeah. Should be a lot of fun. This is where you can start to win those leagues that you had a bad start in too, which I need. I
think I've told this story. I mean, I left my draft going, I'm not even sure what the other 11 teams are trying to. I mean, I'm going to run away with this. It's the worst start I've ever had. I got my first win this past week, but I think there's a chance that I'm not quite buried yet. I can outsmart these accountants and ditch diggers I play with.
Who's much more difficult to outsmart is the folks in our 14-team league, Peacock and Williamson Fantasy League. I've had a terrible draft, but I did pick up my first win last week, and I'm starting to claw back, so it's looking good. My team's on the up. Long odds for the playoffs for Team Peacock, though. That is for sure. All right, let's keep this thing going. We got more games to get to as part of our 6-pack. There is the Chargers hosting the Seattle Seahawks, the 49ers hosting the Chiefs, and Matt, are we going to get a huge piece back on Sunday Night Football for your Steelers? And are the Dolphins going to get a huge piece back quarterback to take on those Pittsburgh Steelers? Those games and more. Thursday Night Football preview as well coming up next. Blue Nile, whether you're looking to pop the question, have a milestone to celebrate, want to let your love sparkle, Blue Nile can help make your celebrations even more memorable. My favorite part of Blue Nile by far is the help you can get when trying to choose a gift, because I love giving people gifts, but I never know what the hell I'm doing when I'm buying a gift, especially when it comes to jewelry. If you're just trying to take your relationship to the next level, maybe you just want to do something very special for that special person in your life. Buy something for mom, right? Got the holidays coming up. Blue Nile's helped millions of people and couples create their perfect engagement ring. There's easy online tools to let you choose the diamond shape, size, clarity, as well as the setting style that you want. But the best part is Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7, available via phone or chat to help you find a memorable gift at every budget. So shop stress-free with Blue Nile's 100% satisfaction guarantee. All Blue Nile orders are insured and shipped for free in discreet packaging. They're also offering overnight shipping if you're in a rush. So make your moment sparkle with Blue Nile. Go to BlueNile.com and use promo code Locked On to save $50 on your purchase of $500 or more. That's Blue Nile, BlueNile.com, code Locked On to save $50 on your purchase of $500 or more. BlueNile.com, promo code Locked On. Thanks again, everybody, for making Peacock and Williamson your first listen every day. Make sure you check out NFL Key Predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL. Locked On's local experts give you the inside scoop on the 5 biggest games of the NFL weekend, including Sunday and Monday Night Football, plus betting advice from the field's leading experts, BetOnline. Follow NFL Key Predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you're subscribed up, by the way, to the Locked On NFL channel on YouTube, because that is also the home of Peacock and Williamson.
Yeah, get on that.
Yeah, that is a must. That is a must. You're missing out if you're not seeing our mugs while we're talking about football and making our weekly 6-pack of picks here, Matt, for week 7. We've got the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Atlanta Falcons. And the Bengals team at 3-3, it's time. The Falcons, though, are also 3-3, and the Falcons have covered every single week so far through 6 weeks of the NFL season. Can they do it again? I look at the Falcons and I see a line of 6, and I'm like, well, that's just easy money at this point. I mean, the Falcons are scrappy. They're going to stay in every game. They've played way better defense than I've expected. They've been able to run the ball, even without Cordero Patterson just pounding the rock, and they've got a couple of weapons. Now we're seeing Kyle Pitts getting in on the action and scoring touchdowns. So, is it that easy? The Falcons are just going to cover all these big lines because nobody still believes in them every week?
Maybe. I mean, I think Arthur Smith is right there in the coach of the year conversation with Dayball and several others, maybe McCarthy. They're very hard to play against, and they're different than the Ravens when they inserted Lamar. But people need to think about this for a while. Like, a lot of fans think, boy, they got a whole week to prepare for the upcoming opponent. That's unlike any other sport. They should really know this team inside and out. That really isn't the case in the league. There isn't nearly as much practice time as you think. So when somebody plays a very different style, that's why I referenced the Ravens. Like, Lamar is undefeated, I think, against the NFC because they only see him once every 4 years. So a team like Atlanta that you don't see regularly and just pounds you in a league that's all about passing and lighter linebackers and, the stop in the pass are really hard to play against. And whether they use Kyle Pitts for your fantasy team or not really doesn't matter. They compete. I just don't know that they can put enough points up. I think Cincinnati's offense is turning the corner. They're running the ball a little bit. They're becoming a little less predictable. They're at home. I think Cincinnati's going to score. I have them with 27 points in this game. I think Atlanta only gets to 13.
Yeah, all these big lines are making me a little bit uneasy. I do like the Dallas one, but man, I definitely would put my money on the Falcons side just because of the way I've seen them play this year. But it's hard for me to say that the Falcons are going to go into Cincinnati win this game too, which is what you want. You want to feel good about your underdog bets that they're not only just going to barely cover, but that they can actually win the game. I don't feel that strongly about the Falcons either. I do like that AJ Terrell, who was banged up last week, is going to play in this game. Yeah, so AJ Terrell, can really help against someone like Jamar Chase there. And we just haven't really seen it get going for the Bengals, but maybe this is the week. So who knows? But I'm kind of on the Falcons bandwagon. I hear you. The Giants, the Jets, the Falcons, all these teams, they've won some games. We got to give them a little respect. So I'm going to give the Falcons respect, which probably means they're going to get blown out in Cincinnati.
I kind of feel like they're due to get blown out, but I didn't want to say that because I felt that for a month and a half now.
As we said about the Giants and even the Vikings. I was like, are they
Right.
that good? But they keep winning.
Seems like some of these teams need to come back to what we thought they were, including
Or
Cincy.
maybe, you know what, Matt? Maybe we're not that smart and we were just wrong.
I mean, that's very possible. I mean, I'm absolutely.
I am not ready to concede it yet, but it is a certainly a possibility.
I mean, I thought Atlanta was going to pick first in the draft, and Cincinnati's just coming off a Super Bowl. You know, like you would think this game would be a 12-point spread. You know, but in the preseason.
I mean, this is kind of getting there. There was a mailbag question about this, Matt. I think we have an extra minute. Which team would you say is going to be picking first? Is it the Texans? Is it the Panthers? Raiders are at
Panthers.
Panthers.
I think Carolina. Yeah. Okay. I mean, Houston's still in it. The Bears could not win another game, and it wouldn't shock me. But there's some bad football right now, but I would bet on the Panthers.
The Bears are kind of playing a similar brand to what the Falcons are doing.
Yeah, right.
And it's helping them stay close in some games. And they just need to get a little bit more veteran-style play. Like the Falcons have gotten out of Mariota, the Bears need to get that from Justin Fields.
Real quick, I can't stress this enough. The Bears, Falcons, and Giants are 3 of the 5 least talented teams in the league. They have 10 wins between them, and they're all top 5 in rushing yards per game. I don't think that's a coincidence.
We'll get to the Bears. We'll get to the Panthers, who are hosting the Buccaneers tomorrow. They are not part of our six-pack. A game that is part of our six-pack, Mac, is the Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Chargers. The 3-3 Seahawks at
Rams.
No, Chargers. Seahawks at Chargers.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right city, different team.
Yes, I picked this game as though it was the Rams.
Okay, would it matter for you? Would you pick the would you pick the Rams, and would you still pick the Chargers, who are favored by 6 at home against the Seahawks?
I'm changing my score. I have Seattle racking up 23 points. I have respect for their offense. Geno came back to earth a little last week, but I still think that they moved the football. I meant to say this earlier in the week. Kenneth Walker looks phenomenal. I mean, it's sad what happened to Penny, but Walker looks like a great replacement. They're getting a ton out of their rookie class in general. Woolen, the corner, makes a big play every week. The tackles are playing well. But boy, I think this is a Herbert blow-up spot. You know, I mean, I'm expecting Keenan Allen in this game. I think he's the missing ingredient in this offense, that whoopee that he hasn't had. I think the Chargers put up a lot of points against a bad defense. I have them winning 32-23.
Yeah, and you start to see how important Keenan Allen is to the Chargers offense. It's not quite to the level of Cooper Kupp with the Rams.
Right.
It's pretty important to have that guy that you can trust is open on third downs, and you can find him. He's going to find the soft spot in the zone. You know, Travis Kelce. There's certain teams have those players that, man, it's just that nice warm blanket for the quarterback, and that would be huge to get him back this week for the Chargers. And even the Chargers limping to a 4-2 record, they're still 4-2, and we have not seen the best of the Chargers, I think, yet. And so will we start to see that? And the Seahawks are a good story, but I think defensively it's a nice week for the Chargers to put up some points. And I do like the Chargers quite a bit in this one. Do I like them by 6? I'd probably stay away money-wise, but I definitely expect the Chargers to win this one. And if I had to go one way, I would probably give up those points at home for the Chargers.
I think I'm going to lay the points.
Those Los Angeles Rams have a bye week this week.
Yeah, I was very wrong about that.
Yeah, you were wrong about that one. It's okay. The Rams and Seahawks will see each other very soon, as they do a couple times every single year. How about your Pittsburgh Steelers, though, Matt? They're on Sunday Night Football hosting the Miami Dolphins. Big question for me. It's hard to pick this game not knowing if TJ Watt's going to be back, because that makes such a huge difference to that Steelers defense. Yeah,
I'm not counting on it. They did not, unless it happens in practice today, they did not start his clock, so I do not expect him back for this one, but that's subject to change. You would think you'd start the clock earlier in the week if you think he's possible to play this week. They play the Eagles next week, and then there's a bye. At the latest, I think Watt is available after the bye. Maybe he's there for Philly. Looks like a very good chance Pickett gets the start, as it was the case with Tua. I wish I knew about Armstead for Miami. I mean, their left tackle situation was really, really bad last week, as was their whole O-line. I'm feeling very homerish. It's kind of just Tomlin versus a rookie head coach in a primetime game. I think the Steelers win this one by 1. I have it 21-20. I guess that's upset special. Adam and Eve on a raft, man. I think these teams are a lot more equal than +7.
There you go. We got the cup of mud. And the Homer Steelers for Matt going to beat the Miami Dolphins here. Miami favored by 7. I do like Miami in this game, especially with no TJ Watt, if that's the way this indeed goes. If Watt's there, I'm definitely taking the points and taking the Steelers to keep it a little bit close. But I just haven't seen enough from the Steelers yet with the rookie quarterback to go in and beat a team that I think is going to continue to get better and be closer to the team we saw earlier in the year than what we've seen with them bouncing around with quarterbacks and trying to figure all that out. It's just too hard to cover Hill and Waddle and the speed at running back that they have. So, give me the Dolphins in this one.
Yeah, I mean, as you can imagine, I've done a ton of research on this, and their offensive numbers the first 3 weeks with Tua versus the last 3 weeks are night and day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they'll get back to first 3 weeks production. I mean, I think he's like second in EPA ahead of Mahomes. I'm not sure he's at that level, Tua, but it is a big addition, of course. A thing I really noticed, though, about the Dolphins that's killing them is the hidden yardage stuff is terrible with them. Like, they are last in special teams DVOA. They've had 199 yards in penalties over the last 2 weeks. The last 3 or 4 weeks have been turnover fest for them. They're making it easy to play against them. And I'm not implying that the young coach is over his head or anything like that. It's probably more bad luck, but it's a trend.
I almost don't like this game being in prime time because I just don't want to see Tua get hurt in prime time with all eyes on him again like it was on Thursday. Like, I hope it's a run-heavy game plan for the Dolphins, and maybe just keeping it close is a reason why they won't, it's not smart to bet on them to win big by 7 points or more.
I think the league office is nervous about this one.
Right. Yeah.
Because
spotters are going to be on this one for sure. And, at some point when you pass the protocol, whatever the protocol is, if Tua passed it, you got to let him play eventually. Right. So, but
even take it a step further, everyone's going to be all eyes on Tua, of course. Kenny Pickett's coming off a concussion, as is Bridgewater. It's so...
and that was so last
week. I'm not hoping for concussion fest, but oh man, it could be a bad optic.
Yeah, and then Bridgewater didn't even start, but then he still played because Thompson got hurt so early in the game for the Dolphins last week. It's such a strange situation. So if hopefully knock on wood, and I hope Tua's in a good spot, and everything's good for him. Gets through this game, and then you start to put some space in between that concussion and where he's at, and then get back to normal football and normal activities for Tua and the Dolphins, and then they can kind of get on with their season. I think that's obviously the thing that everyone hopes happens here. Of course.
I mean, I'm just a lot of concussions around quarterbacks. 3 of the ones that could be in this game had one in very recent memory. It just scares me.
All right, we'll finish this episode up with our Thursday night preview, Saints at Cardinals, and the final game of our Week 7 6-pack. The Kansas City Chiefs at the San Francisco 49ers, rematch of Super Bowl 54, was it? Yeah, 54.
Close.
Yeah, whatever happened after the 2019 season. That is coming up next. Here's the sports analogy for you when it comes to home security, comes to burglars. Your home is like the end zone, and this is what needs to be protected. And you need to put in place the strongest defense you can, the absolute strongest defense you can muster, which is why I use and trust SimpliSafe Home Security. At SimpliSafe, your safety is the only thing that matters. It's cutting-edge technology powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who always have your back, so you always know your home is safe. And your best defenders can't get injured and not play for you either with SimpliSafe. They're always there for you every single week. You've got
TJ Watt every week. Yeah,
you got TJ Watt on one window and you got Nick Bosa on the other window. You don't have to worry if they're going to be there or not. And the best part about it is the crystal clear HD live stream of your security cameras. You are inside of your house. You can see what's going on the outside and the exterior of your house at all times. When you're not at home, you can see exactly what's going on at your house. There's any number of different high-tech sensors for any doors or windows that you need. And you can customize your own system that fits your exact property that you're trying to protect with SimpliSafe. And of course, the 24/7 monitoring agent or SimpliSafe tech support staff that is always available for you. So customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at SimpliSafe.com/LockedOnNFL. Save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan and get your first month free. Visit simplisafe.com/lockedonnfl to learn more. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Speaking of Nick Bosa and the San Francisco 49ers, this is a get well week, it looks like, for San Francisco. They were missing so many people last week. Their entire starting defensive line, both starting offensive tackles were out of the game. Both starting cornerbacks at one point were out of the game. But looking good this week to get Nick Bosa and Trent Williams back at left tackle, and they're basically their best player on each side of the ball. So that's really important. That will help the 49ers in this game. Some other players they might be getting back as well. Jimmy Ward. There's some day-to-day stuff that we'll find out about later in the week. But I think the biggest story in this game, Matt, is it's being played on National Tight Ends Day. And maybe the two best tight ends in the NFL in Travis Kelce and George Kittle. And I don't know if the schedule makers did that on purpose, but happy National Tight Ends Day, everybody.
That's a great holiday. Some of the holidays out there are pretty darn dumb, but that one's great. I'm all for a good tight end day. I don't know what to think about this. I mean, if your Niners D could really give the Chiefs problems. I think Mahomes is going to be on the run. I don't think they're going to be super afraid of the Chiefs receivers not named Kelce. Does Kansas City decide, let's pound the football? They've been able to do that at times this year with a good O-line. But I think the Chiefs are the more talented team. I have them winning 27-20. I'm just more excited to watch this one than prognosticate or bet it. I think it's going to be a fun and telling game, and it wouldn't shock me if San Francisco wins.
Yeah, and a healthy 49ers defense had been the best in the league before last week when they were just missing too many players. So getting a lot of guys back, and we saw how important Von Miller was to the game last week when the Bills beat the Chiefs. And so that's what you're hoping. You can find that one mismatch on one edge for Nick Bosa, get him in. And that's the best way to cover Travis Kelce, is just to try to pressure Patrick Mahomes, right? Because he gets those 3 seconds to throw, sidearm. However, Kelce's going to find, even if you're bracketing him, he's going to find that hole in the zone. And, the 49ers do have Fred Warner and, some good players on the defensive side of the ball, but it's all about, can you get the pressure? So Nick Bosa is so important to the 49ers defense in this one. The Thursday night football game, we've got the New Orleans Saints at the Arizona Cardinals, two of probably the most disappointing teams, I would say, Matt, in the NFL this season. How do you see this one? Arizona favored by a couple of points at home.
I see it better than the last two Thursday night games. I mean, at least there's playmakers out there. I'm very excited to see DeAndre Hopkins back on the field. Curious what Anderson looks like in a Cardinals uniform as well. So some new receivers for Arizona to throw to. I think the Saints defense, though, is maybe the best unit on the field. I don't even know who's starting at quarterback for New Orleans. I mean, Michael Thomas doesn't play football anymore. I assume it'll be a Kamara heavy, passing game and offense, but I think that's enough to win. I'm going to just take the points.
The QB situation with the Saints is an odd one. It is a really odd one because they really made a lot of moves this offseason as if they were just rock solid set at quarterback. And clearly they don't feel that way anymore. The weaponry you thought would be a lot better. The defense I thought would be a lot better too. So there's a lot not really meshing right now with the Saints, and the Cardinals can't figure out what they want to do. Cliff Kingsbury might give up play calling duties, which might be the benefit. Like, I might pick the Cardinals the first week they do that, because at least tendencies would be broken, even if it's not a lot better on offense. So if Cliff gives up play calling duties, give me the Cardinals. And they're at home anyway in this one in Arizona. So, Cardinals by 3. So I guess I will give up those 2 points, but I don't feel strong about this one. Kind of a coin flip on a short week, but short week Thursday nighter, got to go with the home team.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I just don't have a lot of respect for Arizona right now. And I don't know that New Orleans has this great coaching advantage or schematic advantage either at this point. I wish it was Sean Payton, in charge here, but I'm more excited to watch this one than bet on it.
That is the slate of games for week 7, including our favorite 6-pack. Matt and I back tomorrow to break down the rest of it and make our picks for week 7 right here. Peacock and Williamson.